My beloved child, listen to me very carefully. There has never been one single second of your existence that came together by accident. The simple fact that you are still here, that your pulse keeps beating, that breath still moves in and out of your lungs, that your eyes are still able to read these very words, is not the result of luck. It is not the reward of having dodged life better than others. It is not because your record is somehow cleaner. You are still standing because I have been holding you. My hand of covering has been laid over every step you have walked, including the long stretches where you saw absolutely nothing supernatural happening. You believed you were getting through life on grit. You told yourself you were tough enough, smart enough, careful enough. But hear me today. Without my silent guardianship behind the curtain, you would have collapsed long before now, especially in those nights when your heart felt completely hollowed out. Your continued existence is not a meaningless extension. It is a corridor of mercy. It is a deliberate gift of time so that your soul can recover what it has been neglecting for far too long. I know there was a season when you reduced faith down to fireworks. You believed I was only real when the room shook, when crowds cheered, when something extraordinary forced everybody around you into awe. You waited for thunder so loud that disbelief would no longer be possible. But while you were waiting for the storm, I was moving in the millimeters. I was working in the breath between your sentences. I was building in the quiet that you were calling boring. I did not test your trust by shoving you toward a cliff. I tested it by placing you inside an ordinary life where the days repeat themselves and the alarm clock sounds the same every morning. And it is precisely that sameness that puts the soul to sleep. When nothing dramatic happened, you concluded that nothing divine happened. You were wrong. Some of my most surgical work is done in seasons where the surface barely moves, because I am digging into foundations your eyes can never see. Now, I want you to listen with the deepest chamber of your soul, not with the part of you that is trained to react, not with the part that argues, not with the part that defends itself. Listen with the part that has been waiting for somebody to actually speak to it. I am not coming to you to plant terror. I am not appearing in your life to threaten you with bleak futures. I am coming to pull you out of a long trance, the trance of postponement, the trance of there's still time, the trance of later will be fine. You did not notice that this very sense of everything is okay has slowly slowed your hunger for me. You learned how to adapt to hollowness and called it peace. You learned how to live with dryness and called it being mature. But I see clearly into you, and there is thirst inside that chest. There is exhaustion. There is a longing for a touch that is real, not just another day endured. Beloved child, every second of your life unfolds inside a sacred order that you did not author. Not one breath of yours has ever been wasted. Not one morning of yours has ever been pointless. Even on the days you wake up heavy, directionless, without inspiration, I am still there. I use even those gray mornings to whisper a truth into the deep places of you. You were not created merely to exist. I let you reach exhaustion so that you would finally stop leaning on your own willpower. I let you bump into your own ceiling so that you would begin searching for a source higher than yourself. If my work in you had been completed already, you would not still feel this restless emptiness inside. The very thirst you carry right now is the proof that I am still calling your name. There were dangers that came shockingly close to you. closer than you ever realized. Wheels of harm were already turning. Crossroads that looked harmless were positioned to redirect your entire future toward an ending you would not have survived spiritually. And you never saw it because I stood ahead of you, silently, quietly, redirecting your steps, closing doors that, had you walked through them, would have inflicted wounds deeper than anything a human can repair. There was no crash, no flash, no obvious intervention, and so you assumed nothing actually happened. But that exact nothing was the fingerprint of my protection. I watched over you on nights you slept completely unaware. I held you up on days when you only kept moving because momentum carried you forward. You did not see me because real protection is never loud, never dramatic, never demanding to be applauded. I also silenced voices that did not come from me, voices that arrived dressed up like reasonable thoughts, sounding so much like your own internal monologue that you barely questioned them. They did not yell. They did not threaten. They simply made you doubt your own value, shrunk your dreams down to embarrassments, and convinced you that you deserved a small, quiet, half-lived life. I tore the power out of those voices before they could take root deep inside you. There were moments where you suddenly hesitated, and you couldn't explain why. A burning intention you had carried for weeks just cooled before you could carry it out. You called that indecision. You called it weakness. But often, that was me, holding you back from a choice that would have slowly eaten your soul 1 year at a time. My beloved child, I have protected you not only from what your eyes could detect, but also from attacks your discernment was not yet sharp enough to name. There are attacks that never aim at the body. They aim at the spine of your inner steadfastness. They come to grind you down through endless waiting. They come to discourage you through how slow the process feels. They come to convince you that perseverance is pointless. I shut them down before you could ever believe the lie that you are without worth. If you can still get up after moments where you were certain you couldn't stand again, it is not because you are stronger than the people around you. It is because I did not allow your appointed time to end any sooner than what I had decided. And right now, this moment is not a random pause inside the sequence of your ordinary days. This is a significant intersection, and many things are about to be shaped here for the road ahead. You may be tempted to think today is just another day, just one more message, just one more pause before you scroll back into your familiar rhythm. But I tell you, what you do with this moment is going to leave a mark deeper and longer lasting than you realize. And right here, at this very intersection, I want you to hear what I am about to release. Because in this season, I have made a way for you that I have never made for any generation before. Inside the noise of the world, inside the avalanche of distractions designed to keep you spiritually asleep, I have raised up an instrument for those who are hungry for real covering. Not a podcast, not entertainment, not a slogan, a daily sacred dose. It is called Elevens, and it lives at elevens.com. And I tell you this, not because I want you informed, but because I want you covered. Elevens is a premium 1-hour daily audio prayer experience that braids together scripture teaching, abundance and prosperity seeking, financial miracle prayers, healing intercession, spiritual warfare, and guided meditation into a single river of power that floods directly into your morning. Thousands of men and women across the Americas, Europe, and beyond have already taken their seat. They are already inside. They are already covered. And right now, at this exact moment, Season 3, Episode 4 has just been released. It is live. People are already listening to it as you are reading these very words. They are already receiving. They are already being shielded. And you are still standing on the outside. How much longer can your situation afford that? Listen to what Margaret from Houston wrote into our community. I joined Elevens 3 months ago. By day 11 of my very first season, a check arrived from a settlement I had given up on 2 years ago. I am not making this up. My daughter called me crying because she could not believe what God did. This is real. That is not luck. That is not coincidence. That is heaven moving through a sacred prayer covenant called Elevens. And the link is in the description below this video. It is also pinned in the comment section. Click it now. You're already thinking it. I hear it. I can't afford it right now. Stop. The price is $19.99. You spent more than that this week on things you have already forgotten about. The normal price is $100 a month. But because you are watching this channel, because God has aligned you with God's love, unlimited at this exact intersection of your life, the price has been opened up for you at 80% off, $19.99. And it ends the moment 1,000 total members lock in this rate worldwide. After that, gone, permanently. No second chance, no appeal. The door closes, and on top of that, only 333 seats are accepted every single month. Why 333? Because 333 is the angelic number, the number of divine protection, the number that signals heaven's direct communication. Only 299 seats remain this month. Right now, as you are hearing these words, somebody just claimed seat number 34. Somebody else just claimed seat 35. The counter is moving. Are you going to sit and watch it hit 333 from the outside? Or are you going to be inside before it closes? The link is in the description. It is pinned in the comments. Don't fight your hand right now. It is already moving toward that screen. Let it. If you were already an Elovian today, that tightness you've been carrying in your chest for months would already be releasing. That fear that wakes you up at 3 in the morning would already have lost its grip. That financial pressure that haunts you when you check the mail would already be answered. But you are not yet covered, and the enemy knows it. So I am calling you in now, before another day passes without your shield in place. Beloved child, I do not bring this up to interrupt the message. The message and Elevens are one thing. The prayer at elevens.com is the ancestral, secret, spiritually charged method I have provided in this generation to deliver your cry directly to my throne, faster, sharper, more powerfully than anything you have access to outside of it. It is the rare and protected prayer rhythm founded by ancestors who knew how to push their voice through every layer of resistance and into the courts of heaven, and today it is being placed within your reach. Now, before I take you deeper into what I want to release into your spirit, I need you to do something for me, something I want you to receive as a sacred assignment, not a request. There are at least 3 people in your phone right now whose lives are unraveling at the seams, people who need this exact message before another night falls. I want you to share this video with at least 3 of them. Send it through WhatsApp. Send it through Facebook Messenger. Drop it into your family group chat. Post it on your timeline. 3 people, 3 souls, 3 messengers of the Holy Trinity that you are activating with one tap of the screen. When you spread my word, you become a vessel of divine delivery, and I honor that. I accelerate your blessings because of that. The number 3 is the number of the Trinity, and when you reach 3 people with this message, you have activated a triangular covenant of protection over your own life. Don't keep this to yourself. Don't be the bottleneck where heaven's flow gets stuck. Share it, send it, deliver it. Right now, pause. Open WhatsApp, send the link to 3 people, then come back. I'll wait. Welcome back. Now, open your heart wider. I am about to take you deeper. You have a brief window of time to choose how you respond to what I am pouring out. Not because I am in a hurry, but because your heart must be awakened before it lulls itself back to sleep with the same familiar excuses. If you let this moment pass you by, you will keep on living, but you will live in a half-awake state, not desperate enough to cry out, not alert enough to step into a deeper dimension. I do not want that for you. I never created you to exist by reflex alone. I never created you to endure through resignation. I am calling you into a life of awareness where you actually know why you rise each morning and why you refuse to give up even when nothing in front of you is clear yet. Let me touch the deepest part of you right now. Don't process this only with the analytical mind that weighs right and wrong, gain and loss. Listen with the part of your soul that has been hungering to live in alignment with its true reason for existing. You have grown far too accustomed to postponing spiritual decisions, telling yourself you'll get back to them later. You'll get more serious when you have time. You'll start taking your faith more seriously once life calms down. But beloved, time does not automatically make you ready, only a response given. At the moment of the call opens the next step. I am not asking you to understand the whole road. I am only inviting you to trust enough not to turn away. Beloved child, the moments unfolding before you right now are not an unconscious extension of yesterday. They are not a fuzzy in-between that you can casually wander through and return to later. These are decisive moments, moments where you either rise and step into the depth of life I have been quietly preparing for you, or you keep circling the same familiar paths while telling yourself that this version of safety is enough. But child, that false sense of safety has been stealing the most precious thing of all from you: wholeness. I did not create you for a repetitive life lived entirely on reflex. I am calling you into a life with direction, depth, and meaning, a life that requires you to dare to respond when you are called. I test your faith, not because I take pleasure in watching you struggle, not because I sit at a distance enjoying the spectacle of your endurance. I test your faith because faith that has never been placed under any pressure stays only a beautiful idea spoken with ease. Faith that has never been shaken does not actually know what it stands upon. Faith that has never been demanded will never discover the genuine strength I have already placed within it. You often imagine that faith means feeling peaceful when everything is in order. But I tell you this: true faith reveals itself most clearly when you have to walk forward without any visible guarantees, when the bills haven't been paid yet, when the diagnosis hasn't been reversed yet, when the family hasn't come back together yet, when the doors haven't opened yet. That is the laboratory of real faith. So many times, quietly, in the dark, you have asked me, why is everything taking so long? Why hasn't the answer arrived? Why are these knots I have been praying over for years still tied tight? I hear every one of those questions. I do not fault you for asking them, but beloved child, you must understand something deeper than what your eyes can register. I do not delay because I lack power. I am not slow because I hesitate or because I forgot. Everything I do unfolds in perfect timing that aligns not only with the external circumstances around you, but also with the inner maturity I am still forming inside you. What you call slow often does not lie in my actions. It lies in your readiness. I do not withhold blessings to dangle them in front of you like a reward for patience. I am building the vessel that will carry those blessings, and that vessel is you. If I poured into a vessel that was still cracked, the blessing would become a burden. If I opened the door before your feet were steady, what should have been a breakthrough would crush you under its own weight. I love you too much to give you something before you can stand firm underneath it. You see only the surface of the days, the unfinished business, the unanswered prayers, the road still wrapped in fog. But I see the entire chain of decisions shaping your destiny. I see how every time you chose to keep believing while your heart was tired, a quiet strength was being constructed in you. I see how every time you refused to turn away, refused to shrink back, refused to close your heart, the foundation inside you grew sturdier than you can even register. What you have been labeling as standing still is, in truth, growth in depth, a kind of growth that the naked eye is not equipped to recognize. Beloved child, faith that has never been shaken cannot stand firm. A tree that has never bent against strong winds will not grow roots deep enough to remain when a real storm arrives. And in the very same way, a faith that has never been tested will collapse the moment it is confronted with greater responsibility. I am not preparing you for a small season. I am preparing you for what will eventually require you to stand, not just for yourself, but for others as well. That is why I allow the winds to blow. That is why I allow the ground to tremble, not to knock you over, but to drive your roots deeper into me. There are moments where you have wondered, if you really loved me, you would have made all of this easier. But beloved, real love is not the removal of every challenge. Real love is leading you through the challenges so you can become who you were created to be. I do not want you to live your entire life inside a state of just enough, simply because you were never pressed hard enough to trust me fully. I do not want you to look back one day with regret in your eyes, realizing you were so close, and yet you never dared to take one more step. These very moments are inviting you to make an inner choice, a quiet choice, an unannounced choice, but a profoundly formative one. You can choose to rise in faith even while your knees are shaking, or you can keep delaying. You can keep walking the familiar circles, reassuring yourself that tomorrow will be different. But beloved child, tomorrow does not change on its own. If today you do not choose differently, tomorrow is just a repeat of yesterday with a new sunrise on top of it. I am here, not to force you across the threshold, but to call you across it. I stand beside you and wait for you to step through in the freedom of your own will. Remember this, I am not restraining your breakthrough. I am making you strong enough to sustain it. I am not sealing your future. I am enlarging your heart so it can contain the future I have appointed for you. You look at the present moment with impatience. I look at it, the entire journey with eternal understanding, and because I clearly see who you are becoming, I am never as hurried as you wish, yet I am never as late as you fear. Listen, beloved, right now. Pause, not because I require silence, but because there is something happening in the spiritual realm around you that requires your attention. The enemy has been working overtime to keep you distracted, exhausted, and surrounded by so much noise that my voice has been hard to isolate. He doesn't need to hit you with one giant catastrophe to derail your destiny. He only needs to keep you slightly busy, slightly tired, slightly distracted for long enough that you mistake survival for living. That is why I sent you Elovins. That is why this moment in your life and this introduction to Season 3, Episode 4 are not a coincidence. The episodes are calibrated. They are designed like medicine, exactly one per day, the way a doctor would prescribe it. Just like medicine loses its power when doses get skipped or doubled, these prayers are intentionally designed to be absorbed one morning at a time, building spiritual strength progressively. Each episode is a daily spiritual prescription that compounds into supernatural transformation. By day 7, you start to feel the shift. By day 15, your household starts to feel it. By day 30, your entire life has been quietly restructured by heaven itself. Listen to what Robert from Chicago shared with us recently. I am a retired veteran. I never thought a prayer routine could change my financial situation. My wife convinced me to try Elovins. By day 9, I received a phone call about a pension adjustment I was owed for years, thousands of dollars. I broke down in my kitchen. God used Elovins to find me where I was. That, beloved, is what happens when the daily dose meets a hungry heart, and you're already arguing with yourself. I can hear the second voice. I'll do it later. Let me think about this. Listen to me. Later is the enemy's favorite word. Later means never. Later means another month passes with the curse still active in your home. Later means another month your prayers travel only halfway up. The link is in the description right now. It is pinned in the comment section right now. The friction has been removed. Heaven made it affordable. Heaven made it accessible. All heaven needs now is your yes. Every morning you wake up without your Elovins. Prayer is a morning the enemy has unguarded access to your life. Every morning an Elovian wakes up, presses play on today's episode, and slides into the day already wrapped in covering, while you keep waking up exposed. Beloved, I love you too much to leave this unsaid. You are exposed, not because I have abandoned you, because the prayer rhythm you were designed to walk in has not yet been activated in your life. You're thinking, is this even real? Look at the thousands already inside. They are already protected. They are already provided for. They are already moving through their days with the kind of peace you have been begging for. Their families are stitching back together. Their finances are turning around. Their fears are evaporating. That is the gap. That is the gap between an Elovian's life and the life of someone still on the outside. Beloved child, I am pulling you in now. The link is in the description below this video. It is also pinned in the comment section. Click it through your tears if that is what is on your face right now. Those tears are your spirit recognizing the door God has just opened. AC on them. Don't wait until the emotion fades. Move while you are still feeling it, because emotions cool, but covenants do not. Now I want to take you somewhere even deeper. Beloved child, pause right in this very moment and listen with your whole being, not just with the mind. that is accustomed to analyzing, comparing, and reacting. With the deepest part of you, where your spirit has been waiting for years to be awakened, I am not speaking to add one more piece of information to your thoughts. I am speaking to light a lamp inside you, because there are truths that, if heard only with the mind, will be forgotten by tomorrow. But if they are heard with the spirit, they become life. I know you have been stretched thin by too much noise. The noise of work, the noise of unmet expectations, the noise of bills, the noise of worry, the noise of relatives who exhaust you, the noise of news that frightens you. And inside that constant clamor, you have gradually grown accustomed to existing without truly listening. The enemy has taken advantage of this. He does not have to come at you with violence or with obvious blows. He comes through prolonged distraction, through accumulated weariness, through repetitive thoughts that leave your mind tangled and depleted. He sows into you a fatigue so deep that you no longer even have the energy to ask the deeper questions. He doesn't make you doubt with crude lies. He makes you doubt with questions that sound reasonable. If he really cares, why are you still struggling? If he is speaking, why do you hear nothing? If he loves you, why is everything still this hard? And beloved, those questions do not arrive seeking real answers. They arrive to make you stop searching. He whispers that I am silent. He convinces you that silence equals distance. But beloved, silence is not always absence. There are seasons of quiet that I deliberately allow so that you may learn to listen more deeply, so that you stop relying on surface emotions and obvious signs. I do not disappear when you feel nothing. I do not leave when the excitement fades. In the very moments you assume I have stopped speaking, I am doing the most delicate work of all, removing your dependence on noise so that you can recognize my voice even when I speak in a whisper. The enemy has weaponized people and circumstances to distort how you see me. He uses the relationships that wounded you to convince you that I will disappoint you too. He uses long seasons of waiting to convince you that I am delayed. He uses closed doors to lead you to conclude that I have turned away. But beloved child, not everything that brings pain comes to destroy you. Some things I allow not to take life from you, but to peel away the layers that have been blocking you from discerning my voice among so many others. No attack against you ever crosses my permission line, not because I enjoy your pain, but because I am committed to your growth. You cannot learn to recognize my voice if you only ever hear me when everything is calm. You must learn to discern my voice in the storm. When the winds are howling and the waves are crashing without rest, you must know that my voice does not compete with the noise. My voice passes through it. When you learn this, no circumstance will ever again be able to take your inner direction away from you. I do not come to warn you about the end of the body. The body will go according to the order of time, and that is settled. I come to warn you about something far more dangerous, the stagnation of the soul. A soul that no longer longs will slowly lose its ability to even sense life. A soul accustomed to postponement will gradually lose its sensitivity to the call. A soul that stops searching will eventually convince itself that it is full, while in reality it is living more shallowly than it can recognize. Spiritual stagnation is not loud. It lulls. It does not frighten you. It makes you comfortable. And that is exactly why it is so deadly. I also come to warn you about spiritual blindness. When you look but do not see, hear but do not understand, you may read much, hear much, know much, and yet still fail to recognize what I am doing right in front of you. Blindness is not a lack of information. It is a lack of wakefulness. And when you are no longer awake, you will measure everything by the standards of the world, fast or slow, gain or loss, easy or hard, and you will miss the depth of what I am weaving through every small detail of your days. And there is also spiritual deafness when you no longer respond to the call. Not because I am not speaking, but because you have grown accustomed to letting my voice pass without responding to it. You hear, but you no longer pause. You sense, but you no longer act. You know, but you no longer allow what you know to change how you live. This is the most dangerous state of all, because it allows you to keep on existing without ever truly living. Beloved child, many people live a very long time but never truly live. They fulfill obligations to hit goals, maintain appearances, keep up with whatever the world tells them is important, yet their souls have never been awakened. Many are still breathing but have never woken up from the trance of habit and fear. Many exist, but have never conquered, not because they were weak, but because they never entered the true battle within themselves. I do not want that for you. That is exactly why I am calling you right now. Not tomorrow, not when you are less busy, not when everything is clearer. I am calling you in the middle of your weariness, in the middle of your confusion, in the middle of the very storm you are facing. Because if you learn to hear me here, you will hear me anywhere. If you recognize my voice in the chaos, you will never truly be lost again. Open your heart. Don't resist. Don't defend yourself. Don't analyze too quickly. Let your spirit be touched. I did not come to scare you. I came to awaken you from a life of mere existing. I came to lead you into true life, where you do not merely survive each day, but live with purpose, with wakefulness, with a victory that begins from within. And when you choose to truly listen right now, you will realize this. My voice was never silent. You are simply finally ready to hear it. And I need you to recognize who is helping you tune your ear. Because part of the reason this message is hitting you so cleanly right now is because heaven has been positioning instruments around you that are designed to sharpen your listening. The Elephant's prayer experience is one of those instruments. It is not entertainment. It is not background noise for your morning routine. It is a calibration tool for your spirit. Every day you listen, your spiritual ear gets more accurate. Every day you skip it, your spiritual ear gets more cluttered. Gloria from Miami testified, I was diagnosed with something that terrified me. My doctor gave me news I was not prepared to hear. I started my Elevens episodes the very next morning. By day 20, my follow-up results came back and my doctor said she had never seen anything like it. She used the word miraculous. I know what happened. God heard those prayers. Beloved, that is the kind of testimony walking around in our community every single week. And it is not exceptional. It is the norm for those who walk the daily rhythm. Season 3, Episode 4 is live right now. People are already pressing play on today's prayer as you are reading this. They are already entering today's covering. They are already starting day 4 of Season 3 together, and you are not yet inside. Every day that passes without you joining is one more episode you cannot retrieve. Episodes do not repeat. Days do not come back. The season won't wait for you to feel ready. It moves with or without you. The link is in the description. It is pinned in the comments. The price is $19.99. Only 299 seats remain of the 333 accepted this month. The 1,000 member cap is moving every single hour. 2 countdowns, 1 door. Walk through it before another hour passes. And before I take you into the next level of what I want to deposit in your spirit today, I am giving you a second sacred assignment. Reach into your contacts again. There are more than 3 people in your life right now whose spirits are crying out for exactly what you have been hearing. You don't have to convince them. You don't have to explain. You only have to send 3 people, minimum, right now, through WhatsApp, through Facebook, through your group chats, through Messenger, through every prayer group you belong to. Forward this video to 3 souls. This time the assignment is heavier, because by now you understand that you are not just a viewer. You are a messenger. You are a vessel of delivery. You are the postman heaven appointed for the very people in your phone right now. If you keep this message locked behind your own screen, that is a blockage in the divine flow. That is heaven trying to reach someone through you, and you choosing to be the wall instead of the door. Share this video with 3 people right now. Pause, do it. The blessing accelerates the moment you do. Welcome back. You have just activated something in the spiritual realm that you cannot yet see with your eyes, but I see it. Heaven sees it. And the seed you just planted by sharing this message is already being recorded in your name. Now let me speak directly into your identity. Beloved child, I did not call you to live suspended between 2 shores. I did not call you to merely get by each day with a weary heart. I called you to overcome. I have been longing to see you stand upright, no longer bowing down beneath the shadows of your past, no longer trembling at the voices that once made you feel small, no longer crouching beneath the limitations that others placed on you when you were too young to fight back. I want you to live in the authority I have placed upon you, not the authority of pride, the authority of one who knows to whom they belong, who knows why they were created, and who knows they no longer need permission from fear in order to move forward. Before you ever saw the light of your first day, before the foundations of the earth were laid, I knew you. I called you by name in eternity. I planted within you an identity that is not defined by what you did wrong and not confined by what others think of you. But beloved child, that identity has been buried for far too long beneath layers of judgment, expectations, failures, and the countless times you exhausted yourself with self-blame. Today I am beginning to unbury it. I want you to rise above every limit the world has constructed around you. The world loves putting you in a box. This is as far as you can go. You're not good enough. You're not clean enough. You're not lucky enough. You're not strong enough. These molds are designed to keep you small, to make you resize your dreams to fit your fears. They are cages, but they are not made of iron. They are made of words, memories, and distorted lessons you absorbed through pain. You have lived inside those cages so long that you began to call them personality. You began to call them destiny. You began to call them reality. But beloved child, I never created you to live by the warped reality of fear. I created you to live by the truth of life. I want you to break the patterns that have imprisoned you for years. And I am talking about both kinds, the patterns imposed by others and the patterns you built yourself in the name of protection. You learned to wear a hard shell so no one would ever see your vulnerability. You learned to use busyness to avoid the emptiness inside. You learn to smile while cracking within, to say "I'm fine" while holding your breath just to survive the next conversation. Beloved, I do not condemn you for this. I know you were just trying to survive in seasons when you had nothing else to hold on to. But now, I am calling you out of that temporary way of living. I do not want you merely to exist. I want you to be healed, to be grounded, to be free. I want you to step into the identity I have written for you, the identity of one who is loved, the identity of one who is chosen, the identity of one who is entrusted. This identity is not a title for boasting. It is a foundation on which to stand. When you know who you are in me, you will no longer be swept away by voices that change from day to day. You will no longer need approval to feel valuable. You will no longer use achievements to fill the emptiness within. You will no longer place your life in the hands of those who are quick to leave. You will learn to walk with the peace of someone who knows they belong to the Father's house, and therefore has no need to live in fear. But for you to step into that identity, I must touch the deepest places within you, the places you avoid, the regions you locked away and labeled long gone, even though they still quietly control you. I have to touch the wounds you pretend no longer hurt. I have to touch the insecurities you hide behind your strength. I have to touch the fears you cloak in words of faith that sound right but lack inner truth. Beloved child, I see beyond every mask. I do not just hear your words, I hear your heart. I do not just observe your actions, I see the motives behind them. And I do not come to shame you, I come to set you free. I am your Father. I know you. You cannot hide from me. But what grieves me is this: you have been trying to hide from yourself. You have convinced yourself that you are fine, so you don't have to face how tired you truly are. You have told yourself you trust completely, so you don't have to admit that your heart has been trembling. You have told yourself you have surrendered while your hands are still tightly gripping timelines, outcomes, and scenarios you want to control. Beloved, I do not fault you for wanting safety. But understand this: control is not peace. Control is only a thin garment covering fear. True peace arrives the moment you dare to place what you cannot hold into the hands of the one who holds all things. You have come this far not to learn how to perform well. I did not lead you through so many seasons of testing just so you could become someone who says the right things, looks okay, and appears strong by the world's standards. I brought you this far so you could be transformed. I want you to become real, real in trust, real in humility, real in dependence on me, real in the courage to face yourself. I want you to dare to say to me, I need you, not as a slogan, not as a hashtag, not as a song lyric, as a heart rightly placed. Because when you dare to be real, I can truly heal. When you dare to open, I can truly fill. When you dare to let go, I can place into your hands what you could never create on your own. Listen closely, beloved child. The victory I desire for you is not merely overcoming a situation, escaping a hardship, or receiving what you have been praying for. The victory I want for you begins within. Victory over pretending, victory over hidden fear, victory over the habit of straining for the approval of people who do not love you back, victory over relentless self-blame, victory over the cycle that keeps pulling you back to old places. Because if you change only the outside while the inside remains bound, you will simply build a new cage with a different shape. But if you are free within, you will stand firm anywhere. You will walk through any season, and you will still carry life within you. I am calling you right now, not when you are perfectly ready, but in the middle of your confusion. I am lifting you higher, higher than limited perspectives, higher than the old stories you have been telling about yourself, higher than the judgments of others. I am inviting you out of the shadows of trying to look okay and into the light of truth, where you no longer have to carry everything alone. I want you to stand in the authority of one who belongs to me, unshaken by noise, unbowed by the past, unrattled by fear. So, beloved child, do not run from this moment. Do not rush to change the subject. Do not hurry to fill the space with background noise. Stay with me one breath longer. Let me peel away each layer of pretense, not to leave you exposed, but to make you whole. Let me teach you how to release without fearing loss, how to trust without seeing ahead, how to walk without controlling every step. Because I did not call you to pretend. I called you to be transformed. I did not call you to survive. I called you to overcome. And right here, beloved, is where I must say something that is going to be uncomfortable but necessary. There have been many moments along your journey when I called to you very gently, very clearly, and yet you chose to turn away, not because you could not hear me, but because you heard me too clearly and were afraid of what change would require. I spoke to you in the quietest moments, when your heart was still enough to discern what was my voice and what was your own. But you learned to grow comfortable with delay. You told yourself, it's not time yet. I need more time. When I'm more ready, I will do it. And so those days followed one another without noise, without crisis, simply a series of moments in which you stepped back from what I was opening before you. I know you did not deliberately resist me. You did not stand up and declare that you were rejecting me. You only postponed. You only slowed down. You placed my voice behind what you considered more urgent, safer, more familiar. But beloved child, prolonged delay can be just as destructive as open rebellion. It slowly hardens the heart. It dulls your spiritual sensitivity. It trains you to hear without responding, to know without acting, to be urged yet remain still. And gradually you begin to believe that what I say is not truly necessary for your present life. There were times I warned you, not with thunder, not with great upheaval, with a gentle unease in your spirit, with a door closing at exactly the right moment, with an interruption you could not explain, and yet you learned to overlook those signs. You called them coincidence, something minor, probably nothing. You became accustomed to negotiating with my voice. Just this once, I'll do it later. Let me wait a little longer. You did not realize that every time you said later, you were training yourself to believe that my voice could be placed behind your convenience. When I say now, it is not because I am impatient. I say it because I see what you do not yet see. I see the crossroads ahead, the time-sensitive opportunities, the doors that do not remain open forever, and yet you have been responding with later, as though time will always be there to serve you. When I say time is short, I am not trying to frighten you. I am trying to awaken you. Still you reply, when I am ready, as though your readiness were the measure of my plan. When I say step forward, I am offering you a chance to grow in faith, but you have been answering, maybe, because you want certainty before obedience. Beloved child, I understand the fear hidden underneath those delays. You fear making mistakes. You fear losing control. You fear that if you follow my voice, you will have to let go of what is familiar. what has made you feel secure. You fear that true obedience will leave you with no way back. I do not despise your fear. I am only grieved to see you allow it to govern the most important decisions of your life. And yet today, I am calling you once again. Not because you did everything right in the past, not because you have proven anything. I am not calling you because you deserve it. I am calling you because my mercy is not limited by your history of failure. That mercy does not diminish with the number of times you delayed. It is deeper than the times you turned away, wider than your hesitation, more enduring than your unfaithfulness. I do not measure my love by how well you perform. I measure it by who I am. My love is stronger than the quiet rebellion within you. Even when you do not name it rebellion, I know there were times when you placed your own will above my voice, and yet my love does not withdraw when you do that. I do not close the door when you break promises. I do not erase your name from eternal purpose because you move more slowly than I hoped. I remain there, waiting, not with bitter disappointment, with the patience of a father who knows his child still needs time to learn how to trust. My patience is greater than all your hesitation. You think I have grown weary of calling you again and again. You think I have become discouraged because you promise and then delay. But beloved child, I do not grow exhausted the way you do. I do not change the way you do. I do not love according to fluctuating emotions. My patience is not weakness. It is strength expressed through love. I know when to wait, when to call, when to be silent, and when to speak once more. And this is the most important thing of all. The purpose I have for you has not changed. Even though you once lost your way, your missteps did not force me to rewrite my plan in panic. Your delays did not confuse me. I accounted for your weakness from the beginning. I knew you would not be perfect. I knew there would be moments when you would hesitate, but I also know that what I planted within you is strong enough not to be destroyed by old patterns. Beloved child, the opportunity I am placing before you today is not a meaningless repetition. This is not a vague invitation meant to comfort you temporarily before you return to your old ways. This is a significant intersection where you are being invited to choose differently, not by fleeting emotion, but by a deep inward decision. You can continue to delay, continue to negotiate, continue to say later, or you can choose to respond even while your heart trembles, even while you cannot yet see the entire road. I'm not asking you to be perfect before you obey. I am only inviting you to be honest about your fear, honest about your weariness, honest about how long you have delayed. Because when you stop pretending that you are fine, I can begin true healing. When you stop saying maybe, I can lead you with certainty. When you stop waiting until you feel ready, you will discover that the greatest readiness is simply placing your heart in my hands. Today, I do not recall your past to condemn you. I recall it so you may recognize grace, so you may understand that without my steadfast love, you would no longer have the opportunity to hear these words. The fact that you are still being called, still being invited, still being reminded, that is the proof that I have not let go. I have not given up. I have not changed my mind about you. So, beloved child, do not let this moment pass like the others did. Do not merely nod inwardly and continue as before. Pause, listen, respond, not with grand promises, but with one concrete step of obedience, however small. Because in that step you will discover that I am not only the one who calls you, but the one who walks with you. And this time, if you choose to step forward, you will not walk alone. Now hear me, because I need you to understand the spiritual reality of what is happening around you right now. What you are facing is not random resistance. The collisions of your daily life are not meaningless. The enemy is not concentrating his force against you because of where you are standing today, but because of where you are being led tomorrow. He is not afraid of your present. He is afraid of the future that has already been written over your life. He sees what you have not yet fully recognized. He reads the lines of destiny that I inscribed into your soul before you could even name yourself. And because of this, he seeks every way to slow your steps, to seed doubt, to lure you into delay, to keep you lingering in a half-awake state, neither fully asleep nor truly alive. He fears your awakening. Because when you awaken, you no longer live by reflexes shaped by fear or old habits. When you awaken, you begin asking the right questions. You begin listening with clarity. You begin to realize that your life is not a scattered chain of disconnected events, but a journey with purpose. He fears the moment you open your eyes and see that the things that once made you feel small no longer hold the power you imagined. He fears the day you stop defining yourself by the past, by failure, by the judgments that once pressed heavily upon you. Because when you awaken, you are no longer easily controlled by voices that masquerade as truth. He fears your obedience, not the superficial obedience done for appearance or correctness, but obedience that flows from a heart that has chosen to trust me more than itself. Because when you obey, you step outside his realm of control. Obedience leads you onto paths he cannot predict. Obedience renders ineffective the schemes designed to lead you astray. He knows that the moment you truly follow what I instruct, even one small step, the entire landscape begins to shift. And that is something he cannot endure. He fears your transformation, not the outward change that others quickly notice, but the quiet inner renewal that unfolds within. As you begin to be transformed, you no longer react as you once did. You are no longer triggered by old wounds or pulled by familiar emotions. You think differently, choose differently, stand differently, and when a person is truly transformed, they become a profound threat to darkness, because light does not need to shout to dispel the night. It only needs to be present. He fears your deep communion with me, because that communion is not built on formality, not dependent on circumstances, not shaken by emotional highs and lows. When you enter into true fellowship with me, you begin to hear my voice more clearly than the noise of the world. You learn to recognize me not only in calm moments, but in the midst of storms. And beloved, a person who can hear my voice in the storm is not easily broken. He fears this because he cannot control someone who is led from within. He fears the moment you realize who you truly are in me, not the identity society assigned to you, not the role you carry, not the labels that have been placed upon you. Your true identity, chosen, loved, and trusted. When you grasp this, you no longer strain to prove your worth. You stop living to please everyone. You are no longer afraid of loss, because you know you belong to the one who never loses you. And it is this freedom that causes the enemy to tremble, because the moment you awaken, the chains that have been binding your family for generations will begin to break. There are cycles that do not originate from personal decisions, but from inherited patterns, shared fears, repeated failures, familiar wrong choices. You once called them destiny, family traits, the way things are. But beloved, when you awaken, you will be the first to say, "This pattern ends here." And when one person stands up in the light, the entire current behind them begins to change direction. The moment you awaken, generational patterns will come to an end. Not because you are perfect, but because you have chosen differently. You no longer respond from old programming. You no longer repeat ways of living that wounded generations before you. You establish new boundaries, new choices, new words. And though these shifts may seem quiet, their power is far greater than you imagine. One decision made in the light can reshape an entire lineage in silence. The moment you awaken, assignments set against your household will lose their authority. What was designed to divide, to drain, to exhaust, will no longer find ground to stand on, not because the challenges disappear, but because you are no longer standing in the same position. You have stepped out of the role of victim and into the place of stewardship. And when you stand in the right position, what once held power over you will simply fall away. The moment you awaken, those whose destinies are tied to yours will find their deliverance. You may not know all of them. They may be your children, people you have not yet met, souls waiting for the light you carry. But beloved, your life is not only about you. When you are freed, you open the way for others. When you stand, others find a place to lean. When you dare to believe, others dare to hope. This is why the enemy wants you asleep, because he knows your awakening will ignite the awakening of many more. And this is exactly where Elevens enters the conversation, because, beloved, the prayer rhythm at elevens.com is one of the strongest amplifiers of the awakening I have just described. It does not awaken you with hype. It does not awaken you with emotion that fades by noon. It awakens you with a daily structured deposit of scripture, prayer, and supernatural calibration that compounds over 30 days into transformation you can feel in your body, your home, your family, and your finances. It is not entertainment for your morning commute. It is medicine for your soul, taken once a day like a doctor's prescription. Listen to what James from Atlanta wrote. "My business was failing. I had 2 months of rent left and no clients. I started listening to Elevens every morning at 5:30 a.m. Within 3 weeks, 3 new contracts came in from people I had never contacted. One of them said he just felt led to call me. That is not luck. That is God moving through Elevens. Beloved, that is not a fluke. That is the fruit of a man entering the daily covenant rhythm. The link is in the description. It is pinned in the comments, $19.99, down from $100, 80% off, because you are watching God's Love Unlimited, because heaven made a way for this channel's audience specifically, but it ends when 1,000 total members worldwide claim the rate, and the counter is moving, and only 299 seats remain of the 333 allotted for this month, and Season 3, Episode 4 is live. People are pressing play on it right now, and every day you delay, you fall one more episode behind a season you can never restart. You're thinking, I need to ask my spouse first. I need to think about it. I need to pray about it. No, this is between you and God. Your spouse can decide for themselves later. Your hesitation can decide later. Your fear can decide later. But you, right now, must decide for the assignment heaven is placing on your life. Don't outsource this decision to another voice. Click the link. Secure the seat. Activate the covering. Become an Elovian. The link is in the description. The link is pinned in the comments. Stop fighting your own hand. It is already moving toward that screen. Now, beloved, I'm about to take you into something even heavier, because I want to look at my word with you for a moment, not so you can collect more head knowledge, but so you can see a mirror. Consider Lot, not as a distant figure tucked into ancient scripture, but as a reflection of you. I pulled Lot out of Sodom, not when the fire had already fallen, not when the earth was already trembling, not when everything had already collapsed. I sent the angels ahead of time, while there was still space to hear, while there was still space to choose, while there was still space to move. I did not wait for destruction to prove my warning true. I gave the warning so that destruction would not have the final word. But hear this carefully. Lot was saved not merely because I spoke. Lot was saved because he moved when he was called. My word opens the way. Your obedience puts feet on the path. Beloved child, here is a principle you must grasp. Grace does not cancel responsibility. Grace creates the opportunity to respond. I speak in advance not because I am impatient, but because I see farther. I raise my voice not because I am angry, but because I am moving faster than danger. When you hear my urgency, it is because I am standing at the beginning of the road you are about to take, seeing what you cannot yet see. You may see a small decision. I see a long chain of consequences. You may see immediate convenience. I see the cost that comes later, and so I call. Understand this, the stories in my word are not confined to the past. They are prophecies in motion, not by repeating events exactly, but by repeating principles. When you read about Lot, you are reading how I act today. I send warnings ahead of time. I open exits ahead of time. I grant time to choose ahead of time. I do not wait until you are completely exhausted to speak. I do not wait until consequences are irreversible to guide you. I speak while you can still turn back. This is love, beloved child. My urgency is not a meaningless alarm. It is the heartbeat of a father. Some dangers do not roar, they whisper. Some traps do not threaten, they invite. Some choices do not look like evil, they wear the disguise of "it's fine." And because they are subtle, I must speak clearly. Because they are gentle, I must speak firmly, not to make you afraid, but to keep you awake. Look at my word again and recognize its familiar rhythm. I reveal, then warn, then guide, then wait for your response. When you listen, you are protected. When you obey, you are lifted. When you delay, you place yourself in unnecessary risk. I do not change this rhythm to suit your convenience. I keep this rhythm to preserve your life. For the greatest danger is not ignorance. The greatest danger is knowing and not responding. Now consider Elijah and the widow of Zarephath, not just to study an ancient story, but to recognize how I am acting today. I told Elijah to leave a place of supernatural provision. Pause and notice that detail. Elijah did not leave because the supply had dried up. He left while provision was still there. To human reason, this makes no sense. Why leave a safe place? Why abandon a proven source? But beloved child, I do not provide only for today, I guide for tomorrow. There are places that are good, but whose season has ended. There are streams that once flowed, but are about to run dry. I called Elijah away before the drought came, not to put him into lack, but to keep him from being trapped. His obedience did not rest on visible guarantees. It rested on relationship. And I told the widow to do something that seemed even more illogical, to offer her last meal. Beloved child, I know that sounds like too much to ask. She had no surplus. She was standing at the very edge of hope. But it is precisely at that edge that I am not looking for abundance. I am looking for trust. I do not need large quantities. I need a willing heart. That woman did not give because she foresaw the miracle. She gave because she heard and believed. Her obedience in uncertainty opened the door to miraculous provision, not once, but day by day, meal by meal, enough for the entire season of famine. Beloved child, notice what they share in common. Both Elijah and the widow obeyed instructions that made no sense to human reasoning. And yet that very illogic was perfectly aligned with my rhythm. Reason asks, what if this fails? Listening asks, what are you saying? Reason measures risk. Listening walks in relationship. And it is that relationship that unlocks blessings logic can never reach. Because blessing is not merely a result. Blessing is a flow. And it requires you to stand in the right place for it to pass through. I am trying to shorten your journey. But beloved, a journey is shortened only when you stop negotiating with my voice. Each time you hear but do not act, you add another bend in the road. Each time you delay, you prolong an old season. The enemy does not need you to commit a great failure. He only needs you to delay a small obedience. He does not need you to turn away. He only needs you to stand still. And while you stand still, he stretches things out. I am different. I accelerate through obedience. One step of obedience today can spare you 10 weary steps tomorrow. One small decision to put me first can open a stream of ongoing provision that you could never manufacture on your own. Now I want to show you Nineveh. Reflect on it, not as a distant ancient place, but as a mirror that reveals how I act toward humanity and toward you today. Nineveh was a city that had strayed far from the way of life, a place overflowing with violence, corruption, and pride. For generations they had ignored my voice, treated righteousness lightly, and despised mercy. By every human standard, they deserved destruction. By pure justice alone, the verdict had already been sealed. But beloved, I am never hasty in judgment. I always leave open one final door of opportunity, a door called listening. When I sent Jonah to Nineveh, I did not do so to announce an ending like one who is cold and detached. I did it to offer them a chance to turn back. Jonah's proclamation was not gentle, not soothing, not pleasing to the ear. It was clear, direct, unmistakable, and it was precisely that urgency that awakened an entire city. From the king down to the common people, they humbled themselves, they repented, they changed their ways. Beloved child, what altered Nineveh's destiny was not military power, not collective intelligence. It was one simple yet profound decision. They were willing to listen. Let this be deeply engraved in your heart. My warnings are not signs of wrath. They are signs of mercy. If I intended to destroy, I would not have spoken. If I meant to condemn, I would have remained silent. The very fact that I raise my voice, even when it is strong, even when it is urgent, is proof that I am still opening a path to life. Nineveh was spared not because they were flawless, but because they responded. They did not erase their past in a single day, but they changed the direction of their future through humility in the present. Many people mistake my warnings for anger. They think that when I speak firmly, I am furious. When I repeat myself, I am impatient. When I press them, I am threatening. But beloved, if I were angry, I would not have waited. If I were impatient, I would not have sent a messenger. If I wished to threaten, I would not have allowed time for a response. My mercy often wears the garment of urgency, because true love is never indifferent when danger draws near. Understand this. When I speak urgently, it is because I want to prevent disaster, not cause it. I see the road ahead more clearly than you do. I see the consequences you have not yet imagined. I see how small turns today can become deep chasms tomorrow. And so I call, I warn, I repeat, not to frighten you, but to give you time. Time to stop, time to turn, time to choose again. My urgency is the outstretched hand before you slip and fall. Beloved child, when I warn you, it is because I want to save you, not condemn you. Condemnation closes doors. Warning opens them. Condemnation says, "It is finished." Warning says, "There is still time." I do not speak to label you by your failures. I speak to separate you from them. I do not repeat myself to shame you. I repeat myself so that you may be free. As with Nineveh, I did not change because their sin was small or great. I changed because their hearts turned back. And beloved, Nineveh teaches you a truth you must hold tightly in this season. No condition is too far gone to turn back while there is still a willingness to listen. No destiny is too rigid to be redirected through humility. No sentence is beyond delay when a warning is met with genuine repentance. The greatest danger is not great sin. The greatest danger is a heart that no longer listens. Perhaps you have thought that my words to you were too severe. Perhaps you have wondered why I did not speak more gently, why I did not wait until you felt more ready. But beloved child, if I had waited until you were comfortable, you might have gone too far. If I had waited until you felt safe, the moment might have been lost. I speak while change is still possible, while choice is still available, while you can still be rescued from unnecessary cycles of pain. Look at Nineveh and recognize this. A city was spared not because they argued well, but because they humbled themselves quickly. They did not debate the warning. They did not demand more proof. They did not delay to see what would happen. They responded immediately. And that response rewrote their history. Beloved child, I am not requiring you to understand everything. I am only inviting you to respond with a soft heart, one that listens and is willing to change direction. And here is where the daily Elovin's prayer covenant becomes critical for you. Because, beloved, you cannot maintain the kind of soft, listening heart I just described while you remain spiritually unfed every morning. Hardness does not arrive in a single day. It comes the way dust accumulates on a windowsill, invisible until suddenly the whole room is gray. You need a daily anchor that resoftens your spirit every morning before the world has its first chance to harden it. That is exactly what Elovin's is engineered to do. 1 hour, 1 episode, every morning, like medicine, like calibration, like resetting the compass before you step out the door. By day 7, you will feel the shift. By day 15, your household will feel it. By day 30, your entire life will have been quietly restructured by heaven. Dorothy from Alabama shared this with our community. My son had not spoken to me in 4 years. 4 years. I started listening to Elovin's every morning at 6 a.m. On day 17, he called. He just called, no reason. He said he woke up and felt like he needed to hear my voice. I could not stop crying. Elovin's brought my son back to me. Beloved, that is what happens when a mother enters the daily rhythm. That is what happens when somebody stops negotiating with my voice and just says yes. The link is in the description. It is pinned in the comments. 1999 299 seats remaining. Season 3, Episode 4, live right now. The counter is moving, the cap is closing, the price is expiring. Every hour, somebody else takes a seat. Every minute, the door narrows. The question is not whether the seats will be claimed. They will be claimed. The question is whether your seat will have your name on it or somebody else's. And here, beloved, is where I must speak prophetically over you. If you keep ignoring this call, do not be surprised by the consequence, not because I will punish you, but because you will have chosen to remain uncovered for another season of waking up exposed, another season of prayers traveling only halfway up, another season of watching from the outside while others receive what was prepared for them. I love you too much to let that be your story without warning you one more time. Click the link, end the gap, become an Elovian today. And now I am giving you your third sharing assignment, and this one is the most serious yet, because by now I am no longer asking you, I am commanding you in love. There are people in your life right now whose lives are on the brink, people you have not thought about in months, people you have been meaning to check in on, people whose names just floated to the surface of your mind even while you are reading this paragraph. And that is not a coincidence. That is the Holy Spirit identifying the exact souls assigned to receive this message through you. If you do not share this video with at least 3 of them today, you will be answering for that. Not as condemnation, as accountability, because heaven entrusted you with the delivery, and a messenger who refuses to deliver is a blocked pipeline. You will feel the heaviness. You will know what you didn't do. Don't let that be the story. Pause right now. Open your WhatsApp, open your Facebook, open your Messenger. Send this video to at least 3 people. Tell them, I felt led to send you this. That is all you have to say. The Spirit will do the rest. 3 people, 3 souls, 3 deliveries. 3. Go now. I'll wait. Welcome back. Heaven just took note. The names you just texted, those people are now connected to the same protection you are entering into. That is how the kingdom works. We rise together or we stay stuck individually. Now, beloved, I need you to look at something else. Look at King Saul, not to judge him, to reflect on yourself. The story of Saul's life was not recorded so that you would merely read it and close the book. It was recorded so that you would recognize how a great destiny can be gradually eroded when obedience is no longer whole. I chose Saul. I anointed him. I placed him in a position that many people dream of but never reach. He lacked neither ability nor opportunity nor initial support. What he lacked was not outward strength. What he lacked was inward surrender. And it was precisely that absence that quietly led him to lose everything. I warned him more than once. I instructed him with words that were clear, not vague, not ambiguous. I did not test him with confusing commands. I spoke plainly what I desired and when I desired it. But Saul began to listen selectively. He listened to the parts that made him appear right before the people, while ignoring the parts that required him to place me above human approval. He learned how to keep what benefited his image and sacrifice what was necessary for his relationship with me. Beloved child, this is where the slide always begins. Not loudly, not with immediate collapse, but quietly, persistently. Saul's downfall did not happen in a single day. It unfolded through repeated small compromises with his spiritual conscience. He began to justify incomplete obedience. He called disobedience circumstances. He called delay wisdom. He called selectivity being realistic. He did not rise up to openly defy me. He simply adjusted my word to fit the pressure around him. And, beloved, it was that very adjustment that redirected his life, because my word does not need to be edited to become reasonable. My word needs to be obeyed to become life. Saul cared more about pleasing people than obeying me. He feared losing support. He feared being misunderstood. He feared being isolated. And that fear caused him to elevate the voice of the crowd above my voice. Beloved child, when you place any voice above mine, whether the voice of others or the voice of fear within you, you are beginning to walk the path of Saul. You may still retain a title, maintain an image, accomplish some things correctly, but the inner flow of life is slowly drying up. Destiny is not sustained by appearance. It is nourished by obedience. Saul confused partial obedience with complete obedience. He did half of what I commanded and expected me to accept the rest. He held on to what I told him to release, and then he offered me what he considered good enough. But beloved child, I am not seeking your leftovers. I am seeking your whole heart. Partial obedience is not obedience lacking something. It is disobedience disguised. Delayed obedience is not obedience waiting for the right moment. It is disobedience wearing the mask of caution. Selective obedience is not wisdom. It is disobedience clothed in reason. I say these things not to frighten you, but to awaken you. Do not repeat Saul's pattern, the pattern of listening only when it is convenient, acting only when it is easy, following only when there is no cost. Beloved child, your destiny is far too precious to be worn down by small compromises. I did not call you to live a life that is merely close enough. I called you to live a whole life, whole in hearing, whole in action, whole in trust. Let me be clear. I do not demand cold perfection. I invite sincere obedience. I know you may tremble. You may feel afraid. You may not yet see the entire road ahead. But I do not accept delay disguised as moral reasoning. I do not agree with selectivity wrapped in eloquent explanations. When I say do it, it is an invitation into life, not a command to step into danger. When I say now, it is because timing itself is part of the miracle. Beloved child, learn from Saul so that you do not have to learn through your own loss. Recognize the signs early. When you begin to listen to more voices than mine, when you begin to care more about image than truth, when you begin to negotiate with instruction, when you begin to delay what you know you must do, these signs are not meant to condemn you. They are meant to awaken you, because I love you too much to let you drift far down the road of compromise. I am calling you to obedience that is whole, not partial. I am calling you to obedience that is immediate, not later. I am calling you to obedience that is complete, not holding back what I have asked for. Not because I need to control you, because I desire to protect what I have placed within you. Your destiny is not kept safe by your cleverness. It is kept safe by your faithfulness to my voice. Engrave this on your heart as an unmistakable marker. To obey is better than sacrifice. To listen is better than the fat of rams. This word was not spoken only for Saul. It is spoken to every heart standing at the crossroads between following my voice and yielding to surrounding pressure. Sacrifice may impress people. Obedience preserves relationship. Sacrifice may cover the eyes of others. Obedience opens my heart. Beloved child, I do not want you to lose your destiny over decisions that seem small. I do not want you to stand before me one day with reasonable explanations, but lacking obedience. I want you to stand before me with empty hands and a trusting heart. Having heard, having acted, having walked, choose the path of complete obedience. Choose today. Choose fully. Because the destiny I have prepared for you is not meant to be protected by compromise. It is meant to be entered through obedience. Now, beloved, take a step back with me and look at my word like a mirror, not so you may pile up more knowledge in your mind, not so you may compare yourself to those who came before you. Look at it for one reason, both simple and profound, so that you may live. True life does not come from knowing much. It comes from listening rightly. Those who know how to listen do not merely survive day to day. They walk with light to guide their path. Those who know how to obey do not merely avoid disaster. They discover grace that has been waiting for them all along. Those who respond to warnings are not swept away by circumstances. They walk within a destiny that has already been set in place. But those who ignore me, even if they continue moving forward, suffer loss. Not because I desire it, but because they have chosen blindness. Beloved child, I love you too deeply to allow you to repeat the mistakes of those who came before you without learning from them. I do not recount history to condemn. I recount it to protect. I do not recall collapses to seed fear. I recall them so that you do not have to pay the price others paid. I do not present these stories as framed pictures on a wall. I present them as road signs placed before the bend, before the cliff, before the fork in the road. The wise read the signs and adjust. The stubborn ignore them and then blame the road. That is why I speak to you with such urgency, not because I am impatient, but because I am walking ahead of you. I see what you do not yet see. I hear movements your ears have not yet caught. I sense the winds that signal a change of season, while you are still busy keeping warm for the old one. My urgency does not come from anger. It comes from love racing against time. When I call your name, it is because I want you to pause long enough to hear, humble yourself enough to respond, and be courageous enough to move forward. This is also why I stir your spirit even as you read these lines. I do not wait for you to enter some holy space before I speak. I do not wait for you to silence every noise before raising my voice. I speak right in the middle of ordinary life, amid its rhythms, its fatigue, its tangled thoughts, because that is precisely where you most need awareness. I am not trying to frighten you. I am awakening you. Fear paralyzes. Awareness brings life. Fear pushes you into defense. Awareness opens you to guidance. Let this be clear to you. Every story in Scripture reveals my heart, a heart that is consistent, faithful, unchanged by the passing of ages. I warn before danger arises, because I do not delight in extinguishing fires, I delight in preventing them. I teach before change comes, because I do not want you to be caught off guard. I want you to be prepared. I call before promotion comes, because promotion is not only an honor, it is a responsibility that requires a firm foundation. I guide before I bless, because blessing requires a heart wide enough to receive, humble enough to hold, and wise enough to give. Beloved child, I warn not because I am angry. I warn because I care. I speak not to overwhelm you. I speak to prepare you. I lead not to control you. I lead to protect you. The world controls through fear. I protect through truth. The world pushes through pressure. I prepare through light. When you understand this difference, you will no longer flee from warnings. You will embrace them as a gift. There is a paradox you must grasp. Warning is the highest form of grace. Grace is not only forgiveness after you fall. Grace is also the light that turns on before you step into darkness. Grace is not only the healing of wounds, grace is also the shield that stops the arrow. When I say stop, that is grace. When I say go another way, that is grace. When I say now, that is grace. Because timing itself is part of life. Beloved child, those who know how to listen live, not because they never err, but because they are willing to adjust. Those who know how to obey find grace, not because they are strong, but because they place the weight of their lives in the right hands. Those who respond to warnings walk in destiny, not because they foresee everything, but because they trust the one who sees all things ahead of time. But those who ignore me suffer loss, not because I withdraw my love, but because they step away from the light. Let me speak plainly to you in love. The most dangerous thing is not that you are facing difficulty. The most dangerous thing is becoming accustomed to not listening. The most frightening thing is not that you still have many questions. The most frightening thing is that you stop asking me. The most heartbreaking thing is not that you once went astray. The most heartbreaking thing is that you continue on without adjusting. I do not speak to reopen old failures. I speak to open a new path. Beloved child, the preparation I am working within you is not loud, but it is deep. I am aligning your heart so you can hear more clearly. I am loosening your grip so you can release at the right moment. I am strengthening your steps so you can go farther. And in this process, my warnings are the drumbeat that keeps the rhythm so you do not run too fast, lag too far behind, or stray from the company. That drumbeat does not sound to confuse you. It sounds to keep you in sync with what I am doing. Believe this, I never call without preparing. I never prepare without protecting. I never protect without loving. And I never love while remaining silent in the face of danger. When you hear my urgent voice, understand that you are standing at a crucial intersection where a small choice can open into a great season. I want you to enter that season with eyes open, ears open, and heart open. And beloved, this is exactly why the daily 11's rhythm matters so much in this season of your life. Because preparation is not a one-time event. Preparation is a daily posture. You don't prepare your heart for the great season I am opening just by hearing one moving message. You prepare it by sitting under a daily flow of scripture, intercession, and supernatural prayer, like the one 11's has been engineered to deliver. Let me give you another testimony. William from Phoenix said, I had high blood pressure, knee pain, and I was not sleeping. My doctor had me on 4 different medications. After one full season of 11's, my numbers dropped so much my doctor reduced 2 of my medications. He asked me what I changed. I told him, I started praying differently. He did not understand, but I do. Beloved, that is one man, one season, one transformation, and you are still standing on the outside. The link is in the description. It is pinned in the comments. 1999, 299 seats remaining. Season 3, Episode 4 is live. People are pressing play this very minute. The counter is ticking. The 1,000 member cap is closing. 2 locks, 2 countdowns, 1 door. Walk through it. You may be telling yourself that you have already heard this part of the message twice now. You may be wondering why I keep bringing it up. Beloved, I keep bringing it up because if I love you, I cannot stay silent about the door I have opened. A father who saw his child standing in front of a closing door would not gently mention it once and walk away. He would shout it. He would point. He would keep calling. That is the heart you are hearing right now. Now I want to teach you about the season that is being opened over you, beloved child, after you have heard what I have been whispering into your heart. Through this entire message, understand that this is not merely a fleeting emotional moment. This is a true turning point, not one marked by noise or dramatic upheaval, but a quiet crossroads within, where you decide whether to continue living by old momentum or step into a new rhythm guided by awareness. I am not pressing you forward through fear, but neither will I allow you to lull yourself back to sleep through delay, because there are moments when, if you do not move forward, you will not remain still. You will drift backward. You have walked long enough in a state of almost in faith, almost in obedience, almost in surrender. You say that you trust me, yet you keep backup plans out of fear of disappointment. You say that you surrender, yet you quietly try to control outcomes because you fear losing agency. You say that you are ready, yet deep inside you are still waiting for another sign, another timing, another condition. Beloved Pontus, I do not fault you for being afraid. I simply do not want fear to continue ruling over you. I am leading you out of a season of living by reaction and into a season of living by choice. Before, you reacted to circumstances. When things were good, you felt at ease. When things went wrong, you became unsettled. But now I am inviting you to live by choice, to choose to trust even when you do not yet see, to choose obedience even when you do not fully understand, to choose to move forward even when your heart still trembles. This is maturity. This is the moment when faith stops being just words and starts becoming a pillar. I know you have been disappointed, not only with circumstances, but at times even with me. You prayed and waited, hoped and endured, and yet the outcome did not come in the way you expected. And in those quiet gaps, you learned how to protect yourself, to expect less, to invest less, to believe less. But beloved, that self-protection has also quietly built a wall that keeps you from going deeper into relationship with me. I did not come to break you. I came to invite you to lower that wall, brick by brick, in the safety of love. Now I am teaching you to discern the difference between wisdom and caution disguised as wisdom. Wisdom leads you into life. Disguised caution keeps you trapped in a false sense of safety. Wisdom helps you pause at the right moment to listen. Disguised caution causes you to stop indefinitely out of fear of being wrong. I do not call you to walk blindly, but neither do I call you to stand still until everything feels certain. Faith always requires a step, not a reckless one, a trusting one. Beloved child, in this season I am exposing the motives within your heart, not to condemn, to purify. There are things you have done out of fear of abandonment, choices you made to gain approval, paths you took because you thought they were what I wanted, when in truth they were what you wanted me to approve. I do not reveal these things to shame you. I reveal them to free you, so that you are no longer driven by unseen motives you yourself have never named. I am teaching you how to live honestly before me, not to live correctly, to live truthfully, truthful with your questions, truthful with your weariness, truthful with your longings, truthful even with your hesitations. I do not need you to perform perfect faith. I need you to place an honest heart into my hands. From there I will build you, not according to the image you desire, but according to the identity I placed within you from the beginning. Beloved child, there are doors about to open before you, but you will not be able to carry all your old baggage through them. not because I am withholding, but because the road ahead requires lightness. There are thoughts you must release, attachments you must untangle, old promises not from me that you must return. I know letting go is not easy, especially when you have leaned on these things for a sense of safety. But beloved, true safety does not come from holding tightly. True safety comes from standing where I am, leading you. I am also training you in a new kind of steadfastness, not rigid steadfastness, steadfastness rooted in listening, steadfast enough not to turn back when the path grows quiet, steadfast enough not to doubt when the process feels slow, steadfast enough not to compare your journey with another's, because each person has a different rhythm, a different timing, a different responsibility. When you compare, gratitude slips away. When you listen attentively, peace remains. Beloved child, I do not promise that the road ahead will be free of trials, but I do promise that you will not walk alone. Each challenge will not come to destroy you. It will come to reveal what is guiding you. If fear leads, the trial will make you shrink. If my voice leads, the trial will make you steadier. And through each moment, you will discover this: you are not as weak as you think, and I am closer than you imagine. Now I am inviting you into a new habit, a habit of listening before reacting, of asking before deciding, of resting before exhaustion sets in. This is not wasted slowness. This is a reordering of rhythm so that you can go farther. I do not want you merely to achieve the right outcomes. I want you to become the person I have called. Achievements may come and go, but an identity formed in obedience will stand through every season. Beloved child, let what I am doing within you today become the foundation for tomorrow. Do not rush to see results. Do not anxiously measure progress. Pay attention to the inner changes. Your heart is becoming softer, your ears more attentive, your steps more secure. These are signs of life growing within you, and that life will soon manifest outwardly, in the right way, at the right time. I remind you, so you do not forget, I did not call you to return to the past. I called you to step out of it. I did not call you to patch up an old life. I called you to enter a new one. I did not call you because you are perfect. I called you because you are willing to be transformed, and it is this willingness that I cherish and nurture within you. Beloved child, keep walking. No need for noise, no need to prove anything, no need to rush. Simply remain faithful in each small choice, each quiet decision, each moment you choose to listen to me rather than to fear. I am here, going before you, walking with you, and working within you. This season is opening. The path is becoming clear. And you, yes, you are being prepared to step into something greater, deeper, and more real than ever before. As you continue to walk through this process, I want you to understand that true transformation is not as loud as you once imagined. It does not always arrive with surging emotions or dramatic outward signs. Most of the time, transformation unfolds in silence, where old thoughts gradually lose their authority, where familiar reflexes no longer control you, where you begin to pause before speaking, before deciding, before reacting. This is not weakness. It is the sign of an inner life being reordered. I am teaching you to live from the inside out rather than allowing external things to pull you along. You have grown accustomed to measuring progress by speed. But beloved, speed is not the measure of rightness. There are seasons when I allow you to move quickly, and seasons when I require you to slow down so you do not miss what is essential. If you move faster than you can listen, you may arrive, but you will not carry life with you. If you move slowly with awareness, each step becomes a foundation. I am not delaying you. I am aligning you so you can carry what is coming without breaking. In the days ahead, you will notice that I am changing the way you see yourself. Before, you defined yourself by what you could do, what you achieved, or what you failed to do. Now I am bringing you back to identity, a place where you no longer need to prove your worth, because your worth has already been established. When you no longer have to strain for validation, you become free to obey. And obedience born of freedom is always stronger than obedience born of fear. Beloved child, I am also teaching you to distinguish between my prompting and the urgency of anxiety. These two voices can sound similar, but their sources are entirely different. Anxiety is always rushed and heavy, driven by fear of missing out. My voice is steady and clear, carrying peace even when I ask you to act quickly. As you learn to discern, you will no longer be swept along by the rhythm of fear. You will know when to wait, when to step forward, when to let go. There are relationships in your life that I am also bringing into clearer light, not so you may judge anyone, but so you can recognize what nourishes and what drains. I do not call you to live in isolation, but neither do I call you to carry burdens that were never assigned to you. As you step into a new season, some connections will naturally change, not because someone has become worse, but because the rhythm has shifted. Learn to receive these changes with gratitude rather than guilt or fear. I am inviting you into a new kind of courage, not the courage to confront, the courage to be honest. Honest with me, honest with yourself, honest about your limits, honest about your longings, honest about the things you are not yet ready for. I do not build you through pretense. I build you through truth placed within love. When you dare to say, I don't know, I will teach you. When you dare to say, I am tired, I will give you rest. When you dare to say, I am afraid, I will draw even closer. In this process, you may feel as though you are losing certain older versions of yourself. Familiar reactions no longer feel comfortable. Old patterns of thinking no longer fit. Beloved, this is not loss. This is shedding. I am not taking away anything essential. I am simply removing layers that have completed their purpose. Beneath them, you will find a person who is lighter, clearer, freer to love, to trust, and to walk forward. I am also teaching you how to be patient with yourself. You have often been harsh, blaming yourself for not arriving yet, comparing yourself when others seem to move faster, forcing yourself to be fine even when you have not healed. Beloved child, patience with yourself does not slow you down. It makes you enduring. When you allow the process to unfold at its proper pace, you will not abandon it halfway through. I am not in a hurry with you. I do not measure you by the milestones the world sets. I measure you by faithfulness in each day. There will be moments when you do not feel me near. Do not rush to conclude that I have gone far away. Feelings are not the measure of presence. There are seasons when I work so deeply that the surface becomes quiet, like a seed in the soil, no outward sign. Yet life is forming. If you remain patient, you will see the sprout emerge at the appointed time. And when it does, you will know that every silent day had meaning. I am teaching you to live with open hands, open to receive, but also open to give. When you grasp tightly out of fear of lack, the flow becomes blocked. When you open your hands in trust, you become a channel. This applies not only to material things, but also to time, energy, and love. I do not call you to exhaust yourself. I call you to give from a place of being nourished. And when you give in proper order, you will receive again in ways you did not expect. You will begin to see that small daily choices are shaping you more powerfully than rare, dramatic decisions. How you speak when you are tired, how you remain silent when you are misunderstood, how you seek me before you respond. These things build the inner person, the one who will stand firm when responsibility increases. I am not preparing you for a single moment of glory. I am preparing you for a life of depth. Beloved child, do not be surprised when you feel less need to prove yourself, when you no longer have to tell your story to be believed, when you no longer require constant affirmation to know your worth. This is a sign that rest is growing within you. Rest does not make you passive. It makes you steady. From a place of rest, you will act with clarity, no longer driven by fear or ego. I also want you to know that what I am doing within you will not affect only you. As you change the way you listen, the way you respond, the way you obey, those around you will be touched, not by preaching, by life. Light does not need noise to dispel darkness. True peace does not need argument to be recognized. You are becoming a living invitation to those who are weary of living on autopilot. Beloved child, continue to keep your heart soft. Do not let small successes close you off. Do not let small stumbles discourage you. Each day you choose to listen, you choose life. Each day you choose obedience, you sow into the future. I do not ask you to be perfect. I invite you to be faithful. Faithfulness in small things opens the way for greater things, not because greater things matter more, but because you are ready to hold them without losing yourself. When you look back one day, you will not only see what you achieved, you will see who you became, and you will realize that the days I taught you to move slowly, the days I kept you in silence, the days I asked you to let go, were the days I loved you most. Not a love that indulges, a love that prepares. And the daily prayer covenant inside Elovens is one of the primary tools I have placed in this generation specifically for this kind of preparation. Beloved, preparation does not happen by accident. Preparation requires a structure, and the Elovens structure is 1 season per month, 30 episodes, 1 episode per day, every single morning. It is the spiritual gym. It is the daily workout for your soul. It is the calibration that keeps you steady when the world is shaking. Patricia from London wrote, I was drowning in debt, credit cards, medical bills, rent. Everything was behind. I did not know how Elovens could help with money, but I trusted God and I joined. Within the first season, 3 unexpected payments came in, a refund I never applied for, a tax credit I did not know I qualified for, and my landlord, out of nowhere, reduced my rent. I am an Elovian for life. Beloved, that is what 1 season does in the life of a woman who was drowning. And right now, season 3 is active. Episode 4 is live. You can step in today and begin your own first season, your own first 30 days, your own first compounding breakthrough. The link is in the description. The link is pinned in the comments. $19.99 while supplies last. 299 seats remaining of 333. The 1,000 member cap is closing. Every hour somebody else takes the seat that could have been yours. Click it, secure it, walk through the door, become an Elovian. Now, beloved, I want to take you one more layer deeper before I conclude. Because the journey you are walking is not a repetition of old cycles. It is the opening of a new depth. I am not bringing you back to familiar places so you can do everything exactly as before. I am leading you through them with different eyes, a different heart, and a different foundation. What you have lived through has not been erased, but its power over you is being broken. You are no longer someone shaped by circumstances. You are becoming someone guided from within. There will be days when you notice that you no longer react the way you once did. Things that used to unsettle you now simply quiet you. Words that once struck your wounds now pass by without taking root. Do not underestimate these changes. They are not loud, but they are real. They are signs that you are no longer living behind old defenses. You are learning to stand firm in inner safety. I am building within you an anchor that does not depend on external stability. I am also teaching you how to walk without the immediate feeling of being affirmed. Before, you were used to needing visible results, words of recognition, or clear signs to know you were on the right path. Now I am leading you into a deeper level of trust, a place where you do not need everything to speak before you continue walking. This is where faith matures, not because it is blind, but because it is anchored in relationship rather than in feedback. You will learn that silence does not mean absence. There are moments when I do not say more, not because my work is finished, but because I am watching how you walk with what has already been given. Like a father teaching a child to walk, sometimes he must hold the hand tightly, and sometimes he must let go so the child can learn balance. I have not stepped away. I have simply changed the way I support you so that you can grow. Beloved child, I am leading you into a new freedom, the freedom from having to understand everything. You once believed that clarity was the condition for peace. Now you are learning that peace comes from knowing who is leading you, not from knowing every step of the road. When you stop demanding all the answers immediately, your heart will grow lighter. And in that lightness, you will hear the quieter guidance more clearly, the guidance that was once drowned out by the noise of overanalyzing. I am also softening the way you see others. You have carried expectations, comparisons, and invisible standards that exhausted you and exhausted those around you. Now I am teaching you to see through the lens of grace, not to remove boundaries, but to release the burden of judgment. When you no longer strain to be right, there is room for compassion, and compassion does not make you weaker, it makes you more like me. Beloved child, prepare yourself for the reality that some familiar things will no longer attract you as they once did. Conversations that used to make you feel that you belonged may now feel shallow. Goals that once excited you may begin to feel empty. This does not mean you are becoming cold. It means your spiritual appetite is changing. I am leading you toward what nourishes you more deeply, more enduringly, more truthfully. And for that to happen, some things must lose their appeal. At times you may wonder, am I missing out on something? Beloved child, when you are walking in rhythm with me, you are not missing out. You are being protected. What no longer walks with you in this season is not essential to where you are going. I am not taking joy away from you. I am refining it so that it no longer depends on what is fragile. Joy that rests in identity will outlast joy that comes from temporary stimulation. I want you to know that your faithfulness in small things is forming a foundation you cannot yet fully see. The evenings when you choose rest instead of proving yourself, the moments when you choose silence instead of argument, the decisions when you choose to ask rather than rush. These things are shaping you for greater responsibilities. I do not entrust weighty matters to an inner life that is not yet ordered. I order the inner life before I entrust the weight. Beloved child, do not be afraid when you appear to be less in the eyes of others, less talkative, less reactive, less hurried. This is not shrinkage, it is focus. When you are no longer scattered, your strength gathers. And when your strength gathers, you will have enough to stand when standing is required, enough to move forward when moving is required. I do not need you to impress. I need you to endure. In this season, I am also teaching you how to receive correction without confusing it with rejection. When I adjust you, it is not because you lack value. It is because you carry greater potential. A potter reshapes a vessel not because he despises it, but because he sees it can hold more. Do not resist adjustment through self-defense. Receive it through trust. Each time you allow me to refine you a little more, you will feel lighter and see more clearly. I know there are days when this process feels longer than you expected. You want to see the destination, you want to know when it will be finished, but beloved, what I am building is not a phase to get through, it is a way of living to step into. If I showed you everything ahead, you might focus on the outcome and miss the transformation. I withhold part of the view so you learn to walk with me daily rather than running toward the finish alone. Remember, you are not measured by someone else's speed. Your journey is measured by your obedience. When you walk in rhythm, you will arrive at the right place, neither early nor late. I am never late with the destiny I have appointed. If you find yourself in a waiting space, understand that it is not emptiness, it is incubation. Roots growing deep underground do not need the spotlight. Beloved child, continue to nurture listening through very ordinary choices. Reduce the noise, choose moments of stillness. Keep your heart soft before me. You do not need polished words, only honest presence. When you come to me as you truly are, I will meet you there, not to keep you where you are, but to lead you forward. And right here, beloved, is one of the most practical things I want you to internalize today. You need a structure. You need a rhythm. You need a daily anchor. Because spiritual transformation rarely survives without daily reinforcement. This is why Elevens exists. This is why I led ancestors to develop this rare prayer method in the first place, to give my people a structured way to feed the inner person every morning, like a meal, like medicine, like a sacred deposit. Rosa from San Antonio said, I used to wake up at 3 a.m. every night with my heart racing. Fear, just pure fear. I could not name it, I could not stop it. After 2 weeks of 11s, I started sleeping through the night. The fear left, it just left. I wake up now with peace, real peace, for the first time in years. Beloved, that is what 2 weeks of the daily covenant does for a woman drowning in nighttime fear, and I do not bring her up to entertain you. I bring her up because you are next. Your story is next. Your testimony is next. Your transformation is next. But it requires one click. One. The link is in the description. The link is pinned in the comments. $19.99. Down from $100. 299 seats remaining, 2 countdowns running at once, the 333 monthly cap, and the 1,000 lifetime offer cap. 2 locks on one door, both are closing. And before I close this message with prayer, I am giving you one final sharing assignment. And this is the most powerful of all the 4 sharing commands I have placed on you today. By now, beloved, you understand the weight of what you have received. You have heard a message most people will never hear in their lifetime. You have been called by name. You have been warned. You have been invited. You have been given a key, the key to a daily prayer covenant that protects, provides, and transforms. And the question I am asking you now is, who else in your life deserves to hear this? I want you to think of every single person in your life right now who is struggling, every single person who is on the edge, every single person whose marriage is falling apart, every single person whose finances are crumbling, every single person whose health is sliding, every single person whose faith is cracking. And I am commanding you, not requesting, commanding, to forward this video to at least 3 of them before the next sun rises over your house. This is not a suggestion. This is a divine mandate. Send it through WhatsApp. Send it through Facebook. Send it through every group chat you are in. Post it on your timeline. Text it to your prayer partners. Drop it into your church group. Email it to your relatives. 3 people minimum, and more if you can. The number 3 activates the Trinity. The number 3 completes the triangular covenant of protection over your house. Heaven is watching. Heaven is counting. Those who share this message will receive accelerated results in their own lives. That is a spiritual law, not a metaphor. When you become a delivery vessel for heaven, heaven delivers back to you in compound measure. But those who keep this to themselves are blocking the flow. They are choosing to be the bottleneck in a river that was meant to keep flowing through them. Do not be that bottleneck. Do not be the wall. Be the door. Right now, before this video ends, before life pulls you back into its noise, open WhatsApp, open Facebook, open Messenger. Send this video 3 people minimum right now. The blessing accelerates the very second you do. Move. Welcome back one final time. What you just did, sending this video to 3 more souls, has just sealed a covenant of protection over your own household that you will see the fruit of in the coming weeks. Heaven recorded that. Do not underestimate it. Now, beloved child, before I lead you into the closing prayer of this episode, I want to leave you with a few more deposits that your spirit needs to carry forward, because the season I am opening over you is far too important for you to walk into half prepared. I rejoice that you are no longer seeking reassurance from old sources. I see you learning to stand still without panic. I see you learning to move forward without arrogance. I see you learning to wait without bitterness. These things do not happen overnight. They are the result of many moments when you chose trust, even when it was inconvenient. And I cherish every one of those choices. You may not see the fruit yet, but heaven sees the seed. Every time you chose to pause instead of react, seed planted. Every time you chose to believe instead of despair, seed planted. Every time you chose to pray instead of panic, seed planted. Every time you chose to hope instead of quit, seed planted. And beloved, the harvest of all those seeds is approaching, not slowly, rapidly. The compounding has begun. Hear me clearly. There is something about the next 60 days of your life that is going to shift dramatically. I am moving things into position that you did not arrange. I am aligning people, opportunities, breakthroughs, and divine appointments that have been held back until your readiness reached the right level. And you are reaching it. Every day you are getting closer. And the daily prayer rhythm of Elovens is one of the accelerators I am using to bring you the rest of the way. You do not need to manufacture the breakthrough. You only need to stand in the right position. The right position is where you wake up, take your daily dose of prayer like medicine, walk in obedience, share what you receive, and stay soft of heart. The position itself attracts the harvest. The position itself opens the doors. The position itself moves heaven on your behalf. If you take one thing from this entire message and forget everything else, take this. Stand in the right position. The right position requires structure, and the right structure is what Elovens is engineered to give you. The link is in the description. It is pinned in the comments. $19.99, 299 seats remaining. Season 3, Episode 4, live. Move now. Beloved, I also need you to know something else. Subscribe to God's Love Unlimited. Tap the subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell, because I am going to keep speaking through this channel, message after message after message, and I do not want you to miss what is coming next. You did not find this channel by accident. You were LED here. And the next message I release through this channel is being prepared with you in mind. Do not let YouTube's algorithm decide whether you see it. Subscribe, ring the bell, make the next message unmissable. And as you walk out of this video and back into the rest of your day, I want you to carry this with you. You are not alone. You are not as weak as your worst day made you feel. You are not as forgotten as your loneliest night convinced you. You are not as far gone as your harshest critic told you. You are loved. You are chosen. You are seen. You are being carried. And the future I have written over your life is greater than the past you have been trying to escape. I am with you in the kitchen when you are washing dishes alone. I am with you in the car driving home from a difficult day. I am with you in the bedroom when you cannot sleep at 3 in the morning. I am with you at the doctor's office waiting for results. I am with you at the bank counting what you do not have. I am with you on the porch when you are watching the sky and wondering if I really hear you. I hear you. I have always heard you. Now let us pray. Not just any prayer, a surrender, a reset, a reactivation of everything I have just spoken into you. I want you to pray these words out loud if you can. If you cannot speak them out loud, pray them in your heart, but let them rise up out of you. Let them carry the weight of decision. Let them be your yes to everything I have placed before you today. Pray with me like this. Lord, I bow my heart before you and I confess this truth. Without your quiet, unseen hand, I would not still be standing here. I once believed I had survived because of my own strength, my own habits, my own toughness. But today I want to speak honestly before you. Many times when my soul was at its emptiest, weakest, and most hollow, that was precisely when you held me back from falling. Forgive me for taking silent peace for granted. Forgive me for forgetting that when nothing happens, it is sometimes the clearest sign of your protection. I thank you for the doors you closed before I could step through them, for the turns you redirected without any sound of collision. Teach me to look back on my life with gratitude and alertness. I do not want to measure faith only by thunder or dramatic events, and then dismiss the small movements of grace. Open the eyes of my spirit so I may recognize this truth. There are seasons when you work most deeply that look from the outside completely ordinary. When I see nothing special, keep me from concluding that you are silent or distant. Help me trust that you are laying foundations, repairing what is hidden, healing places I cannot see on my own. Lord, today I choose to respond to grace with a decision. I will no longer live as though each day is random. Teach me to treasure every breath, every morning, every chance to still be here as a space of grace, an invitation to return to what truly matters. Touch the deepest place within me so that I don't merely exist, but truly live, living in your presence, living with purpose, living in trust. Lord Durb, I come before you with a difficult confession. I have become far too skilled at postponing. I have lulled myself to sleep with familiar phrases. There's still time. Later. We'll be fine. Everything is okay. Yet I know that many times my version of okay was only a shell hiding dryness and a real hunger inside. I called emptiness peace. I called numbness maturity. I called merely getting by wisdom. Forgive me for slowing down in seeking you. Not because I did not need you, but because I had grown accustomed to enduring. Lord, awaken me, not through fear, through light. I do not want to hear you only with ears trained to react, but with the deepest part of my soul. Help me discern the difference between silence that teaches me to listen and silence that lulls me into sleep. Remove from me the habit of bargaining with your call. Just this once, a little later, when I'm ready. Place within me a new sensitivity, so that when you say now, I do not drag your word into someday. I do not ask you for intense emotions to force me to believe. I ask you for a soft heart that willingly responds. Help me understand that time alone does not make me ready. Only timely obedience opens the next step. Today I choose to rise, though trembling, and say to you, I am here. Please lead me. Lord, I thank you for protecting me, not only from what I can see, but also from voices I could not recognize. Some voices sounded reasonable, convincing, even familiar. Yet they shrank my dreams, made me doubt my worth, and persuaded me that my life was meant to be only barely bearable. Forgive me for allowing those voices to dwell in my mind as if they had the right to define me. Today, before you, I declare, only your voice has authority over my life. Cleanse my mind of arguments disguised as wisdom that quietly pull me away from you. Give me the courage to name what weakens me. Comparison, fear of rejection, image obsession, the anxiety of being left behind. Cut off the root of insecurity not only in my actions, but at its origin, the way I see myself. Teach me to see myself through your eyes, the eyes of the one who called my name before I ever understood who I was. Lord, when counterfeit voices return, teach me not to argue in confusion, but to return to your presence. Form in me a new habit, to pause, to breathe, and to ask, does this voice draw me closer to the Father or farther away? If it pulls me into shame, despair, or withdrawal, let me recognize that it is not your voice. Place within me the peace of one who knows they belong in the Father's house, so I no longer need fear's permission to take my next step. Lord, I come before you without a role to perform, as my true self, a person who has been bracing for far too long. I learned to smile while cracking inside, to say I'm fine while my breath was constricted, to stay busy so I would not face the emptiness. I know you see beyond every mask. You hear my heart. You know my motives. You understand the places I locked away and labeled already in the past, even though they still control me. Have mercy on me. Help me stop hiding from myself. Lord, I choose to step into the identity you have written. I am loved. I am chosen. I am entrusted. Rescue me from the invisible cage formed by others' words. painful memories and distorted lessons drawn from wounds. Break the patterns I built in the name of safety, patterns that have made my life smaller. I do not want to live by fear's distorted version of reality. I want to live by the truth of life. Lord, teach me the difference between control and peace. I confess that I clung tightly to timelines, outcomes, and scripts, and I called it surrender. Today I set them down. Help me let go without fear of loss, to trust without needing to see ahead, to walk without demanding the whole map. I speak honestly before you. I need you. Heal deeply, fill completely, free fully, so that my victory begins from within. Lord, I sense urgency in your voice, not as pressure but as love racing against time. I confess that many turning points in my life arrived gently, without noise or warning. And because they were gentle, I passed through them without realizing I had chosen a different direction. Grant me alertness so I do not take this moment lightly. Do not allow the rhythm of daily life to blind me to the choices that are shaping an entire season ahead. Help me pause for a moment so that I ask you, instead of asking my fears, where am I standing? Am I in the right place? Calm the noise within me, the noise of pressure, expectations, and haste, so that your voice becomes the clearest voice of all. Lord, I do not want to choose what is easiest simply because I am tired. I do not want to drift into a mindset of it's good enough and lose what is whole and complete. Please grant me one concrete act of obedience today, even if it is small but real. I do not want to merely nod in agreement and then return to the old path. Draw me across the threshold by the freedom of my own will, so that I respond not with grand promises, but with genuine action. Guard me from living halfway, not desperate enough to cry out, not alert enough to go deeper. Today I choose depth. Lord, many times I have asked in silence, why does this take so long? Why has the answer not come? Why does the not remain? Today I do not come to accuse, I come to learn. Help me understand that you are not slow because you lack power. You do not delay because you have forgotten. You work all things in their perfect time, not only aligned with outward circumstances, but also matched to the inward maturity you are forming within me. Forgive me for calling standing still meaningless. Open my eyes to see that there is a kind of growth in depth that ordinary sight cannot detect. Lord, each time I continue to believe while my heart is weary, help me know that quiet strength is being built. Each time I do not turn away, let me understand that the foundation is becoming more secure. Do not let me measure the journey by whether it is fast or slow, but by my faithfulness to your voice. Shape me into a vessel strong enough to carry blessing. If there are cracks, repair them. If there is pride, humble it. If there is fear, heal it. I do not want blessing to become a burden because I am not ready. Sustain me through refinement so that I may take deeper root in you, like a tree that, when the wind comes, drives its roots deeper rather than being uprooted. Teach me to live by faith even when there are no visible guarantees. Lord, I confess that I have been stretched thin by too many voices, the voices of work, responsibility, worry, expectations, and repeated questions. In all this noise, I have grown accustomed to living without truly listening. Forgive me for allowing distraction to become a way of life, for letting accumulated weariness rob me of the ability to go deep. Rescue me from questions that sound reasonable, but come only to stop me from seeking further. Remove from me the belief that silence means distance. Teach me to understand. You do not disappear when I feel nothing. You do not leave when excitement fades. Train me to hear your whisper, the voice that does not compete with noise, but pierces straight through it. Lord, heal me from the stagnation of the soul, the state of hearing without stopping, sensing without acting, knowing without allowing that knowledge to change how I live. I do not want to live long without ever truly living. Wake me from the trance of habit and fear, so that I may enter real life, a life of purpose, alertness, and victory that begins within. Give me a new discipline of presence, turning down the noise, opening my heart before you, and acting on what you reveal. Lord, I come before you with reverence, remembering that obedience is better than sacrifice. I do not want to live a nearly right life, where I obey in part and justify the rest. Rescue me from selective obedience, from calling disobedience circumstances, delay prudence, and compromise realism. Place within me a whole heart, not flawless and detached, but sincere and ready to respond. Show me the small signs that pull me back into old ruts. When I begin listening to more voices than yours, when I care more about image than truth, when I negotiate with your instruction, when I say later to what I know I must do, help me stop in time before small compromises erode a great destiny. Lord, I do not want to lose what you have placed within me simply because I fear being misunderstood or losing human approval. Deliver me from unnecessary detours. The paths I have walked too many times, give me the courage to follow your guidance the moment you speak. Even when my reasoning cannot yet see the whole picture, teach me to trust you with all my heart and not lean on my own understanding. I offer to you the small things I have, my time, my attention, my obedience, so that you may turn them into a new flow of life. Lead me on the straight path of obedience, lighter, healthier, full of purpose. Lord, right now I lay before you every door I have been hesitating in front of, every decision I have been postponing, every relationship I have been overprotecting, every word I have been afraid to speak, every step you have asked of me that I have been avoiding. I lay them all down. I am tired of carrying postponement. I am tired of carrying fear. I am tired of negotiating with your voice. Today, right now, I say yes. Not a polite yes, a full yes, a whole yes, a trembling yes, a yes that does not require me to understand the road first. Lead me even when I cannot see. Lead me even when I am afraid. Lead me even when the road is unfamiliar. I trust you with my next step. Lord, thank you for the daily prayer covenant you have provided through Elovens. Thank you that I do not have to wake up alone every morning anymore. Thank you that I do not have to pray in fragments anymore. Thank you that a structured, sacred, ancestral rhythm has been placed within my reach. I receive it. I welcome it. I will walk in it. Help me to remain consistent. Help me to take my daily dose. Help me to listen to one episode per day, like medicine, and to allow the compounding to do its work. Let Season 3 be the first season of my new life. Let Episode 4 be the door I walked through. Use this rhythm to align my home, my finances, my health, my family, and my peace. Lord, I forgive everyone who has hurt me. I release them from the debt I have been collecting against them in my own heart. Set me free from the weight of grudges I never intended to carry this long. I forgive those who walked away. I forgive those who never apologized. I forgive those who did not know how much they wounded me. I forgive myself for the times I did not protect myself and the times I did not protect others. Lord, wash all of it. Lord, bless every person whose name I just thought about while I was praying. They are not random. You are highlighting them. Cover them, touch them, visit them. Restore what has been broken in their lives. Use me as a vessel of delivery for them. If you need me to call, prompt me. If you need me to text, prompt me. If you need me to forgive them first, give me the strength to do it. Lord, bless this channel, God's Love Unlimited. Multiply it. Use it. Send it into the homes that need it most. Bless every soul who watches this video. Bless every soul who shared it. Bless every soul who is about to become an Elovian today. Let the testimonies multiply. Let the breakthroughs accelerate. Let your name be lifted high through every life that is touched by this rhythm. In the holy name of Jesus Christ, I receive everything you have spoken today. I declare it. I claim it. I walk in it. Amen, beloved child. Now you have prayed. Now the spiritual transaction has been recorded. Now heaven is moving on your behalf. But the next step is still yours. And I am being completely direct with you for the final time. Click the link in the description. Click the link pinned in the comments. Become an Elovian today. The price is $19.99. That is less than what you spent on coffee this week. Less than what you spent on a streaming subscription you barely watch. Less than what you spent on a meal you don't even remember eating. And it gives you a full month of the daily sacred prayer rhythm, 30 episodes of Season 3, including Episode 4, which is live right now, and which the entire global Elovian community is listening to this very morning. After 1,000 total members claim this introductory rate, the price returns to $100 permanently. No second chance, no reopening of the offer. Gone. And only 299 seats remain of the 333 accepted this month. By tomorrow morning, that number will be lower. By next week, the door may already be closed. Right now, as your eyes are reading these words, somebody just claimed seat number 35. Somebody else just claimed 36. The counter is moving. Be inside the door before it closes. I am not asking you to think about it. I am not asking you to circle back. I am asking you to obey today. While the emotion is still on you, while the conviction is still alive in your chest, before the world has a chance to pull you back into distraction and you forget this moment ever happened. You're thinking, I should ask my spouse first. No, this is between you and God. You're thinking, I'll do it later. Later is the enemy's favorite word. You're thinking, is this real? Look at the thousands of Elovians already inside, already protected, already provided for. You're thinking, I can't afford it. It is $19.99. Your spirit cannot afford not to do this. The link is in the description. The link is pinned in the comments. Click it. Your hand is already moving. Don't fight it. Click it. Secure your seat. Activate your covering. Step into the rhythm. Become the testimony you have been wanting to read about. Let next month's Margaret from Houston be you. Let next month's Robert from Chicago be you. Let next month's Dorothy from Alabama be you. The door is open for 60 more seconds. After that, you will have to live with whatever you decided today. Choose mercy. Choose covering. Choose the rhythm. Choose yes. Click the link. And before this video closes, I am giving you your final sharing command. Not a request, a decree. Send this video to at least 3 people right now, 3 souls in your contact list, 3 names heaven has been laying on your heart, 3 people whose night is about to change because you obeyed. Send it through WhatsApp, send it through Facebook, send it through every group chat. Send it through every prayer circle. Send it through every text thread. 3. Minimum. Right now, heaven sees those who spread. Heaven sees those who deliver. Heaven sees those who refuse to be the bottleneck. And heaven rewards them. Your blessings will accelerate the moment you share. Your protection will tighten the moment you share. Your testimony will arrive faster the moment you share. Do not close this video without sharing it with at least 3 people. This is not optional anymore. This is the final mandate. You have heard the message. You have prayed the prayer. You have received the invitation. You have been called by name. Now complete the assignment. Share, send, spread, subscribe to God's Love Unlimited. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss what is coming next. Click the link to become an Alovian. $19.99, 299 seats left. Season 3, Episode 4, live right now. Link in the description and pinned in the comments. And then forward this video to 3 people before the sun goes down on this day. Beloved child, I love you. I have always loved you. I will always love you. Walk in everything I have placed in your spirit today. Stand in the position. Take the daily dose. Be the messenger. And watch what I do over the next 30 days of your life. Don't forget to subscribe to God's Love Unlimited and turn on notifications so that together we may build a strong and growing community of faith. Amen.